Hey everyone. Hi. Hi. Wait, let me get a little crystal so I can make sure that it doesn't fall. Yeah. There.
Crystal Mountain.
Wait. Wait, it's not doing it. Hey guys. Hello. Okay, hi guys. So, here we are, and sorry. Sorry we took long, but I was eating, so.
It's a pretty steep new moon full moon energies coming in, slowing everything down.
Yes. I was telling Josephine, I'm like, I'm kind of nervous about going live right now. That's so weird for me. I'm never nervous about it. But anywho, so we wanted to make another awesome live video, and we wanted to talk about, just keep talking about the things that are hindering us. Keep talking about it. Keep bringing awareness into it, and we want to share with you guys the stuff that we both download every day. We're always getting downloaded. We're always decoding, and so this is what we do. And when we decode, we like to share it with you. Because when we share with you, we enhance your own awareness, and you get activated because when you resonate with the truth, and that activates inside, that activates that truth within, and that confirms something for you. So, you know, when you go, oh yes, I know that feeling, and that activates you, and that confirms to you that you're not alone, and that you are seeing things as they truly are. And I know for me, I don't know about you, but like a lot of times I felt that I was decoding stuff that people wouldn't understand, or I thought maybe no one would understand me because no one's seeing it the way I'm seeing it or feeling it. So this is where like my psychic abilities were coming into play, and like I was really decoding things from a very pure place, from the inner child frequency. And so I felt a little bit how do you say, when you're like a little bit intimidated, or just a little bit like not really wanting to share everything that I was decoding, because I felt like people were not.
It's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, decoding is really dangerous, because it a lot of where you're saying like, oh, people couldn't understand, more often than not is that they don't want to understand.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the way that this hopefully a lot of you guys have seen The Matrix. Like, that's one of like the kind of archetypal narratives that we can use to like bounce off of, and I mean there's decoding to take place in that narrative as well, but there's elements of that archetype where, you know, people will choose the blue pill. They will choose to live a comfortable delusion, and they will prefer that over the real harsh truth. Often, like, truth feels like a punch to the face, or like a shot to the gut, and like, you know, love, like true love can feel a lot like pain when it comes in. And so a lot of us are in this matrix web that keeps us trapped, is where through our own like fear of rising to our mission and accountability, we will choose the delusion over the reality, and we will want the lie more than the truth. And so if you
because the truth is work.
The truth is always going to be work, and that's where we come in with the courage to decode. It can make you feel nervous, because often you are about ready to be attacked for whoever was benefiting from that delusion being in place to begin with.
And someone said right now, let's talk about energetic vampires, and you just said someone was benefiting. So we've all at some point been energetic vampires. Why we were not taught to cultivate energy through our being. We were not taught that we are complete within, that we have all the treasure that we need, and that we have the validation within. And we were supposed to be nurtured through the mother and the father energies. We're supposed to be nurtured, and that from that place we can grow and blossom and be like the lotus, right? But we weren't taught to cultivate energy. So this is how we become vampiric. And we create these energetic cords, or, you know, very unhealthy patterns that that become like a trigger, or a push and pull to vamp energy. And at some point we all done this. So but we're walking into this new Earth's frequency, where we are continuously reminding each other that we can cultivate our own energy, and that we have so much light coming through us if we can only tap back into source. If we can start to cultivate that energy, we don't need to do these things. We don't need to vamp on each other. And we show that from being the example. Go ahead.
Oh, no, that's good. I think one of the core points, so if you warp that mother and father narrative where you have two, so like in an aligned paradigm, energy always flows downwards towards life. And I want to avoid using the word unconditional because there's trigger linchpins in that. But the aligned place for a mother and father who can be so fused and there for each other in this infinite flow of masculine and feminine energy, they have an unlimited pouring out to the children base. So they can flow eternally towards the nourishment of that inner child, all the way up to that inner child becoming initiated into a divine king and queen. And that is what that is. So because that original narrative has gotten warped in this matrix system that we've plugged into, and the parents aren't able, so for one thing, the father is like emotionally absent and not present, not even acknowledging the divinity of the wife in a lot of this paradigm. She is left to, like, in many ways only receive nourishment from her children. So that's one way, is like a central trauma, is that life force is flowing from children upwards. And so our life force is fueling death rather than life. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things that has to get into realignment. Mm-hmm. Maciel did really excellent decoding of sort of the biblical narrative of how Adam and Eve became slip, and that we want unity. Mm-hmm. So this is now talking about the warping of the mother and father archetype, which basically makes parasiting, it's out of ego survival, because if you don't have that unconditional flow from the mother and father to children, those children are alone to figure out how they get love. And if what they've only been taught is like particularly sexual distortion and imbalance, or they have been, molested, or faced with these things, are very
it's pretty much like when we're not educating our children, we're basically leaving it up to society, and we leave it up to religion or any type of cult-like mind energy, or something that's trying to dominate, not help us evolve. So when we have that nourishment, this is why coming back to your inner child is so important, because when you go back there, you're pretty much accessing your pure divinity, your pure childlike energy. So the Adam and Eve, I woke up at 5 in the morning. I don't remember what time it was, but it was really super early, and I posted it on my Facebook. I love sharing my downloads because it helps us understand what happened with the Adam and Eve. Pretty much we were told, and repeatedly through the Bible, through the biblical scriptures, that Adam and Eve separated. They got a divorce, supposedly, right? Energetically, something happened. Eve did something bad, and they pretty much got separated. They were disowned by Source, which is a story that infiltrates the consciousness, and it hinders the connection to Divine Source, and it puts sin on your consciousness. It puts being bad, like you did something bad. So basically, we were told this story because it creates a magical dark spell. And what that does, it splits your consciousness. So you're no longer in union with yourself. From the beginning of time, you were told this. Everybody who read the Bible has that false negative program that splits your personality. So you're no longer in union with your feminine and masculine energy. So when we decided to say yes to the story, which we were probably fed by our own parents, of course we're going to say yes. We're going to say yes. We made a contract to keep repeating the story over and over, so we teach it to other generations. And so the story never ends. So we completely just stay separated and divided. So once one of us, it doesn't matter who it is, I got downloaded with this. Once I or anyone else starts to get activated, and you accept that you are not separated, you are a complete being, you are the divine feminine and divine masculine, and you come to believe again and come into harmony and peace that your mother and father never got separated. And I'm talking about internal energies. I'm talking about your internal self, your universe, your world within. So you gave in to the story that everybody told you about your own self. That's dumb. We are unique individuals, and we can change that story. So we can literally start to alchemize the story within ourselves and bring back that
it's our only
Adam and
option.
Eve. Yes, it is. And we bring back Adam and Eve, and we create the sacred marriage within ourselves, okay?
Yeah.
And when we create that perfect marriage and divine union with ourselves, and we make peace with ourselves, and there's no more resentment, because think about it this way: when there is this false program that Eve did something, she committed a crime, she committed something, you are already getting infiltrated with resentment to look at women a certain way. Duh. If you really think about it this way, you are filled with resentment with the opposite sex. It doesn't matter. It could be men or women. They're both fighting. So I got downloaded today in the morning that in order for us to stop the fighting and the war outside, we need to come into union. We need to come into union within ourselves and provide ourselves that platform to give ourselves that divine sacred marriage within ourselves and come back into unity consciousness within us. And then we can help the world access that remembrance, the true remembrance of who we truly are, because we're complete, right? Mm-hmm. So we bring back mama and daddy back, the consciousness back together,
can be like
and they can be the infinity symbol
energy, and they will, from that place where you have a mother and father that is fully present and rising up in unity of the masculine and feminine, it creates a spiral of unlimited flow of divine energy and anchor points into like alignment with the universe. That from that base, children that are had from that purity will never know lack, will never know distortion. They will never have to be in a place where they're going to have to be out of survival, forced to vamping on other people. They're going to know what true love means, which is that full flow, like infinite flow and connection to their own divinity. From that place, your inner child will never have to feel like their only access to connection to the divine is through vamping other starseeds or other people. So that's kind of where it like comes full circle. We have to heal our internal mother and father that got separated falsely, because all of this is designed, these manipulations are these like inaccuracies in the narrative that aren't aligned to love and light. They are put there so that you have wound openings, so that your energy points can be accessed like regularly and ritualistically, and that your energy can be used to manifest something on the physical plane that your soul doesn't actually want to manifest. So that's why we have to go back in and think like, okay, what was in this narrative that didn't feel right? And this is where we're talking about ways that we were conditioned by ego-based programming on this top, where there's right and left, right or wrong, justice and this and fear. Like it's always this ratcheting and leveraging up. You're not going to know the truth of these stories by picking up and like using the scientific method, and
you have to there's something that happens that happens internally. And then so for instance, when you don't know how to ride a bike, right? You don't know how to ride your feeling muscle. This is why you practice makes perfect. Everybody can learn how to feel their body. Everybody can do that. But if there is some wounding happening in yourself that doesn't allow that to happen, because if you feel, you're going to feel what it felt like to be rejected. You're going to feel what it felt like to be hijacked. There's some trauma there, and most of the time we don't want to feel our body, because we will have to remember how it felt to be rejected. We would have to remember how it felt to be, if you got molested, if you got sexually abused, if you got energetically traumatized, if you got, you saw something that was very traumatizing. You would have to go back and feel those things and nourish that and alchemize it, and then come to harmony within yourself. In order for you, it's work. Like we're talking about work.
That's where we have to become our own aligned mother and father. So like in the physical plane, like this warped distortion that we agreed to, in this like that we're trying to heal out of, it's happened. It's done. It's what's been here. So the only way that we get out of this trap is we become for ourselves that aligned mother and father that can nourish our inner child.
And so that's your higher self.
You got to like activate that higher self to go in and be fully present with the pain of that child. At that point, like we all know children that are in a state of tantrum, they can't be reasoned with. They just want what they want. They need to be like, you need to go back in and be with that screaming pain and just really hold it there. And you need to be that parent that was never there for you.
And and exactly, it's alchemizing what has happened, the trauma that has happened in many different levels of consciousness. So back to the Adam and Eve, I really want to get to the story of this because from that place of Adam and Eve, you create a false sense of not that love does not exist. True love does not exist. So it gets hijacked by this lack of love, and there's no such thing as true love. I can never find someone that truly loves me, because you've been programmed to think that way and act that way, and according to your pain body, you're going to keep recycling the same type of story, the same sad story that has been told to you from the beginning of time, because that's a program. So they knew there's intelligence outside and there's intelligence inside, and we can all get played in some way, shape, or form. This is why it's so important for you to learn who you are, what you are. Know thyself. The kingdom of heaven is within. It's not outside. So the kingdom of heaven is within you. So once you find the kingdom, you know who you are and what you are, and you will not get easily manipulated, and you will call things out. And the people that have, back to the energetic vamping, the people that have been vamping on your energy will get mad. And this is how you know that they've been vamping on you. So if you had anybody that's been vamping on your energy and you suddenly say, no, you cut them off energetically, mentally, emotionally, in whatever way they were vamping on you, because there's many ways, there's many ways of abuse. So there is the physical abuse, there's emotional abuse, there's the energetic abuse, and then there is the eyesight abuse. When you see something that's traumatizing and there's no words or anything, but you can see it and you get traumatized, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I saw that, right? And this happens with, I know we're getting a little bit off the subject, but we're just kind of going to roll with whatever spirit guides us to talk about. So it's kind of like when you're a little girl or a little boy. And this is why going back to the inner child is so important. And I keep going back there because that's the only way you're going to free yourself. Because whenever you saw something like a horror movie, that's trauma to the eyesight, right? So when I do inner child healings, this is what the inner child tells me. My eyes hurt. The eyes hurt because they saw something that was not in balance with the harmony within. So it attacked them, and it felt like traumatizing to them. So this is why movies, everything's a program. Every single thing is a program. You just have to choose what program you're instilling in your data. What data you're instilling in your drive, right? What you're inserting inside. There is things that really do activate you. They really do enhance your energetic system. They really do help you liberate and decode yourself. But there's also things that trap you in this place of duality. And these are also programs that are falsely put there so they can trap you, because they know they can't control you after a certain level of awakening, right? But they're like, okay, how do we stop this from happening? How do we stop starseeds from finding their power? Let's insert this program. And this is what the linchpin you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, so the way that this design, so a lot of the archetype of Snow White and the apple and the evil queen, like putting the poison in the apple, something that's supposed to nourish you, contains the poison that's going to affect you.
This is what we're talking about, the healer, having the people that do healing without healing thyself, right? When you do something and you're not coming from a pure intention, you are going to act like you're doing something, but you're actually poisoning.
There's a wolf in sheep's clothing. So if you want, like, the way that these, like, reptilian agendas try to work, they want your defenses to be down as much as possible. So you're going to be lulled into a place of trust, and it's going to look like something that is so secure. So I would say, like, Disney and Star Wars is, like, a great way to go through this. So, like, the hero's journey, that is actually, like, this direct, scripted thing that aligns with everybody's soul mission, purpose, and path. So anytime you see that unfold, your inner child is going to start jumping around dancing like, yes, yes, that's it. That's what I'm here to do. And so they'll take something that makes you really secure and like really want, and then they'll eject little pieces within that. Like, it's like putting the razor blades in the Halloween candy. So your defenses are low. You're going to like take that in, and then you're not going to, at that point, it can infect you sort of freely because you like weren't sort of affecting it. And that's why like
oh my god, wait, you know those movies, like those witch movies? Have you ever seen the that one, the brother and the sister, that they're like they're witch hunters, and in the beginning of the movie they attract little kids with candy, and they're like, come here. It's the same thing you're saying. So like attracting, getting the inner child to trust just a little bit, and once the inner child is there, it's like, I got your energy. And remember,
no, and so a lot of these tales that get channeled through, like fairy tales, the Bible, Star Wars, these are like divinely channeled things that are instruction manuals that have initiation and light codes in them to help us activate. And that's why, like, as starseeds, we're going to gravitate and we're going to hook into the parts and the elements that are the truth. And what we're here to tell you in that courageous part is to, within these things that come in that feel really aligned, it is now like our job to use our feeling body and to consult with our inner child to go in and find where are the places where the poison is located in this. And the best part about taking the poison into your body, and a lot of us that have, lived with especially early childhood abuse and trauma, our bodies are essentially full of poison. What is beautiful about this is if you have the poison, you have the antidote. You just have you have to have the courage to decode it and alchemize it back into its right form.
And if you don't, you have us to help you.
We can guide through. Like those of us, that's why we exist here, is to cancel through, to go through, and that's an aligned healer is going to help you go through to do that, to do and teach you sort of the process of decoding, so that you can like take this on. Because once you, really what it takes though, I mean, you do have to have that container of like believing in yourself and holding space, but if you can go through and figure out through your inner child to be able to discern what is nourishing truth and what is deception that's getting me to agree to something that my inner child wouldn't want to agree to, that now my field is open for my energy to be taken away from me. I know the decoding that I did is just about everyone that I talk to from a polyamory standpoint. They always initiate, well, we all know, right, that one person can't meet your needs. We can all agree on that, right? We can all agree that there's never going to be one person.
And when you agree,
if you agree to that, you're saying that that one person is you. Like, in this universal plane,
and you can't complete
there is
yourself.
Always one person that can fully meet your needs. So if you find yourself, like, and usually when people do the like, well, we can all agree on this, right? They usually have to lead with humor because it does make your inner child a little uncomfortable to agree to that. And then usually when you're agreeing to it, you just want to fit in and you don't want to be uncool. Pretty much anything that's designed to make you feel cool is a linchpin. Cool is not aligned in the earth plane. Cool is a manipulation. That's really, your inner child is very hurt by having to be cool from a very young age. Your inner child doesn't want to feel like it has to ironically play with dragons. It really wants to play with dragons, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And it's crazy because it's like we think that agreements have to be something that you sign, like something you put your signature on. You can enter. Okay, we are multidimensional, and if you can really start to have like even a clock or an alarm on your phone that says I am multidimensional, and understand that from every level, like mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, okay? If you understand that and more and come into the inner knowing, you understand that you can communicate from all these different levels of your being, right? And we can sign a contract just energetically by saying yes. We can allow and sign a contract by opening up our legs to someone that is there just to infiltrate your physical body to take energy. So you pretty much say yes. So we never teach each other how to shield, how to cut cords, how to let go. So then we have all these pain traumas, even from our exes or people that we slept with physically, that we said yes to. And a lot of that energy debris stays stuck in our sacral chakra. and it stays stuck within our womb, and they keep recycling, and then we get reactive from those places. So if we understand that there are so many ways we can agree to something, we're going to be more careful about the people that we hang out with. We're going to be more careful of who we say yes to, who we let people touch us or enter us, or being our sacred vessel. We're going to be more careful of how we open ourselves up. And we're not going to open ourselves up anymore, because we're going to know that this is my sacred sanctuary. This is my sacred vessel. And no, you cannot enter with all these distortions or with your dirty feet, because I am trying to clean myself. I'm trying to clear my vessel so that I can really understand and know who I am, and know that the kingdom of heaven is within me, so that I can complete myself, so I can cultivate myself, so I can master myself in this realm, and be able to be aligned with all the elements that Source gave me when I was born into this physical reality. And from this place, you are going to be more intelligent and more courageous enough to be able to say no and yes to things that you really are not really helping you evolve, you know. And there's people that you're gonna interact with that will expand you. You know what I mean? They'll help you.
So I think in the vertical plane of ascension, where you acknowledge that everything is, and that your power and alignment to Source is, there doesn't even really need to be agreements or disagreements. They just are. So your truth is your truth, and that is yours. So whenever anybody is really angry about you not agreeing with them, or like their reality, there's a really good chance that they're vamping on some of your energy. If they're very angry that you're not agreeing to something, when you're aligned with your path, you don't need to agree or disagree. It just is, and you know it. So like it's
share this video. Share the video. There's a lot of wisdom in these videos. There's a lot of activation codes for you. And this activations, they expand you, they free you, they help you cultivate yourself. And we want to help as many people get it, and like really try to practice really owning themselves, really owning that part. It's going to be hard, you know, in the beginning, but like everything that is good, great, it's hard to get, right? You have to initiate yourself. You have to work at it, because you're going backwards. You are letting go of these false codes, these false programs. You're letting go of these cages that you put yourself in that were like set as a trap for you.
And that's what's beautiful. Anytime you agree, you're putting yourself in the cage. And that's what's beautiful about figuring out these linchpins, is once you figure out where they are, you then have the power to release yourself. Like, that's what you got me to agree to? No. And then you release your inner child from that contract. And then and it's not a victim thing too. Like, I've had to heal through this, because I felt like there were times where I was like, I was too young. You got me to agree to that before I even knew. When really I'm in this infinite plane, infinitely wise. I've always known. It's actually my soul, like, put me in that position so I can learn how to reprogram it. A lot of us starseeds are coming in because there are a lot of dense, unaligned energies here, and the only way to alchemize them is from an embodied plane. So we've come into places of steep trauma because we have the power and the wisdom to become, make the earth experience spiritually immune from that trauma ever having to repattern again. So if you're in a place where you're if you have had a lot of trauma, particularly early in your life, you've come in because you're spiritually strong enough to decode this, to get to the bottom of it, to figure out how did a divine being get trap themselves in this place, and then how do you decode your way out of it? Mm-hmm. That's what, a lot of you that are a lot of us that are playing video games and are trying to get into the castle or accomplish this mission. That's basically what we have to do inside our own bodies, is figure out, where is my inner child trapped? Mm-hmm. How do I go in? Where do I jump over these things?
Is it true that sometimes it is hard to decode yourself? Like, when you came to me for inner child healings, was there a time, well, obviously there was, but there was a time where intellectually you can have the answers, but there was the feeling aspect that wasn't connecting to the intellect part of your mind. And how did that feel for you? And when did you decode that answer? Like, I need further assistance. I can't do this by myself.
Well, I think what I think what has to happen is that...
Like, where did you feel trapped?
Well, where I felt trapped is because I'm like a very, like a hyper-linguistic savant, and I'm very, like, hyper-intellectual, and so, anything, like, most of this Matrix, too, is they try to teach you that you can think your way out of your problems, and that's one of the ways that we get trapped, and so I ran down all of those roads, and because I'm so highly developed up here, and even that sounds so ego, but trust me, like, I think a lot of this culture, they try to put, like, the way that my brain works is, like, if your brain worked like this, then everything would come together, and I was totally trapped because I couldn't figure out, like, how I was feeling or what anything was even happening. I couldn't get to the core, and now I realize, like, my body was just full of viruses preventing me from even going from the brain into my heart to really feel. I've had to shut my inner child down and tell her to shut up so much just to get to where I am at today. And so I needed to seek out, when I found, like, Maciel and Jesse, I needed, I don't know, I kind of, like, I have a really strong, like, bullshit detector because of that, and I was seeing a lot of, I mean, my inner child does give me a lot of wisdom to, like, decipher energies, and usually because I couldn't trust anyone ever growing up, a lot of us do this that had really abusive past, is that we actually prefer to be around somebody that we can consistently distrust than to make ourselves vulnerable to somebody that we potentially really could trust. So, and so that's why you're probably already an excellent decoder, because you're constantly, you know, figuring out people's and reverse engineering their motives and seeing how you can get around. But then we get in this victim trap where, like, you vamped my energy, now I'm vamping yours. So that's not what we want to do, right?
By the way, she was my first inner child. Inner child healing.
Yeah, my inner child guided me towards them because I could feel their, my inner child could feel their energy, and I could feel, like, I don't know, like, truth, that's why truth isn't something you debate or something you discuss. It's something you feel. It's something that you feel. And when you feel that something's, like, a little off, like, that's your inner child. Like, the best advice that I've ever been given, like, it's worth this whole relationship that I had that unfolded in different ways, just to have this nugget that I, like, want to say, if something makes you feel uncomfortable, that means 100% of the time you should not do it. You don't want to do it. But if something makes you nervous, it means that 100% of the time you're supposed to do it. Discerning.
And I want to say something. I want to say something. Like me, I'm a solo. I walk solo. Okay, yeah, I have my family. You know, my twin flame, but I really don't hang around with too many women, and I haven't found until now. I haven't found a true soul sister connection where there is, like, no competitiveness, and because I detect when someone hasn't healed or when they're talking to me from their intellect and they want to compete against me, and it's like, dude, okay, if you're gonna come from that place, I don't want to hang with you because I want to be my child with you, and I want to be able to decode things with you and, like, be like, oh, guess what, I found this, and you're like, oh my god, yes, I found this too. Yeah. So with her, it's like, even today, I'm like, it's been a long time since I had a friend that I can, like, be completely myself, and, like, and I'm saying from a place of, like, being, like, decoding. I love decoding, and so she loves decoding. So when we're together, we're just, like, bouncing these codes and downloads with each other, and I'm just like, how amazing is it that she was my first inner child, and